So first up for today, we're doing rider questions answered. As a reminder, if you got questions for me, you can always drop them on yammynoob.co. Join the Discord server. We have a specific Ask Yam channel and then a live stream submissions channel. So any questions, you got a cool bike you want to show me, that's going to be the place to do it. I occasionally drop on Instagram too if I want to spur up some more interesting or oddball questions as well. And also if you got some questions on here, I would join up as well. Brandon Chasehorn, my good buddy in real life, says, why is the Honda Helix the best two-wheeled vehicle ever made? Honda, they just make the best stuff. And now someone's going to clip me saying that, and I'm never going to live it down. Let's get started, shall we? Goldfish on YouTube has asked me, how do I know when the transmission is going bad or the clutch? I'm kind of confused about it. So this is something I see come up with newer riders where, something might be going wrong on your motorcycle, and you may not know exactly what's going bad or wrong, right? A clutch diagnosis for a clutch being bad is almost always the following symptoms. Let's say you're rolling on the gas in 4th, 5th, or 6th gear, and all of a sudden you feel the RPMs increase, but you don't feel like the bike is really moving much. It feels like it's slipping, right? It's like revving, but it's like not really moving forward. That's usually what happens when a clutch is smoked. And that happens because the clutch is a basket, has a series of plates that kind of moves in and out like this, right? To get the drive shaft and everything all connected, right? I'm kind of butchering the explanation here. But anyways, as time goes on and you ride the motorcycle and use the clutch, those plates get worn out. We call them friction plates, right? And over time, that can cause that issue where it feels like it's slipping, right? Also, like if you just feel kind of like, the clutch isn't grabbing correctly when you're leaving a stop, like those are all classic signs of clutch issues, not transmission issues. Transmission issues, on the other hand, are like super obvious because you get grinding sounds, you get like really bad feelings from the actual like shift lever and those kinds of things. It's pretty distinct. So that's kind of one way to think about clutches versus transmissions. Clutches are very easy to fix. If you have a smoked clutch, you get a new clutch pack, you load up all the plates, relatively easy procedure on a vast majority of motorcycles. Transmissions are you're usually better off getting a whole new engine instead of a new transmission because the whole thing is one piece, basically. So that's kind of a very quick and dirty rundown on transmissions versus clutches. Hope that helped. Probins Racing 18 asked, I just want to know straight up whether the MT-07, Trident, or GSX 8S is the best. Chat, let me know which one of these three is the best. Just tell me what is best. Because this is a question we try to answer all the time on Yammie Noob. We've done so many comparison videos, so many ins and outs, but the issue is it depends on what kind of rider you are and what you're looking for and what attracts you to these motorcycles. Let's talk about the Trident because it's the different one. It has 3 cylinders, and if that's important to you, that's the only one that's going to do it for you, right? The GSX 8S, it makes a little bit more low-down grunt and power, but the MT-07 is the tried and true and the classic one. And ultimately, you got to get the bike you think looks cool, right? I know that sounds silly, but if you get in any one of these 3 bikes, they're all going to be good. Like one's makes, a nice amount of torque. MT-07's fun and playful. The Trident is just like really overall like a well-executed package. But you're going to be fine on either one of those bikes, either 3 of them rather. And just get the one you think is coolest. People on chat saying MT-07, buy all 3. I mean, MT-07 is the one to get, I think, because it's just like, it's cheap, it's plentiful, it's been made for forever, and it's really fun to ride. It's just got this like stumpy wheelbase, it wheelies in 3rd gear. It's a lot of fun. All right. Andrew on YouTube says, any tips on calming the nerves? It's my 2nd day riding, and I was pretty nervous around traffic. I mean, that's just something that's going to come with time. If you're nervous riding a motorcycle, over time, you will find that you will just kind of be a little bit more zen, be a little bit more chilled out. It's not going to happen in the 2nd day of you riding that you're not going to be nervous at all. In fact, you should be nervous because that's your body keeping you safe from things. So give it time, take it easy. I would say, just ride slower than you anticipate you want to ride. That's a nice way to keep your nerves nice and calm. Quick on here, Devinder K asked a question. Says, yo, Papa Yam, what comes to your mind when you think about user experience when it comes to motorcycle? Doing some research, the DSK on Discord. Well, thank you for the question, my friend. What do I think of when I think of the user experience when it comes to motorcycling? I mean, for me, it's the whole thing about motorcycles is like you're literally just like straddling an engine and going down in time and space. To me, it's like crazy that they're even legal to operate still. It feels like the nanny state would have at this point made them illegal. So I think the visceral quality of motorcycling is the number one user experience. And then, of course, the yeet energy, the raw feeling of just like making the engine go, and there's nothing between you and the engine. That's the reason it's called the motorcycle, right? The motor, the engine is very, very important. Joe D on YouTube has asked, my opinion on slip-on before the break-in period is over. Just got my Ninja 500 3 days ago and already have a Leo Vinci exhaust ready to install. It doesn't matter at all. It really doesn't matter at all. The only thing that matters is if your slip-on system or your exhaust system needs an ECU flash or some sort of fuel management solution to adjust the air-to-fuel ratios. I believe the Ninja 500, I don't know if they changed it from the 400, but the 400s, you'd pop off the slip-on and put on a slip-on, and all of the muffling was basically done at the end. I don't remember if it has a catalytic converter from the header to that final pipe. So all you got to really make sure is that the air-to-fuel ratios are correct and you have a flash or some sort of fuel management system. It really doesn't matter if you do it at mile 1 or mile 1,000. The break-in on the vast majority of motorcycling is just to like kind of get the parts all moving and good and, make sure you change the oil. Like the break-in period is really not as big of a deal, especially on small bore Japanese motorcycles as people think it is. On much higher end motorcycles like Super Dukes, well, KTM's reliability is a whole bag of worms, but Ducatis, the higher end stuff, the break-in is a little bit more important, but I wouldn't worry too much about it. Just make sure that if you're doing an exhaust, check to see if you have removed the catalytic converter, removed any of the like really intense muffling that happens, so that if you need fuel management, you need to get it. Okay, Julius Caesar. Wow, that's quite the question asker, isn't it? What has been your most memorable memory on a motorcycle? The one I say pretty often was my trip in 2019 to Jerez that I did the Bridgestone tire launch. I'm a huge MotoGP fan. To ride on Jerez was like, oh my God, it was like such a treat. And to have all those different bikes to ride was such a big treat. That definitely was one of my favorite memories. Another favorite memory of mine was when I was riding in Israel in 2019. 2019 was a good year for travel, apparently. I got the chance to ride with the Cardo guys from Tel Aviv all the way to the Dead Sea, and then from the Dead Sea through Jerusalem back to Tel Aviv. We did this huge like day-long loop, and I just remember riding through Jerusalem. There were these like hills, and I was on a Tenere 660. It's like the old single-cylinder Tenere before they did the Tenere 700. So it was not even like my preferred motorcycle, but like everything was kind of pink because it was like golden hour, and I was wearing, I don't know, like it was such a perfect ride. So varied, so interesting. So it was definitely one of my favorite memories on a motorcycle for sure, no doubt. All right, Hugh on YouTube has asked, if you could have either a track bike, either or is a track bike, excuse me, see, I can't read, what would you do? You can only use this bike forever. ZX6 or ZX10? Chat, I think the answer here is very clear. And you guys let me know if you have a difference of opinion on this, but I truly think the ZX6 is the one to get. 600s are just, for my skill set, which is like novice club racer, like expert level track day guy, like I kind of know what I'm doing. A 600 is more than enough bike that I'll ever need. I have always felt that thousands were, for my skill set, just the power kind of got in the way of the fun. They're heavier, they're a lot to manage, and yeah, like it feels awesome to just like rip it on the straights, but you know, breaking the thing, the cranks are heavier, like it's harder to get it from side to side. I've always felt that the 600s were just like such a good balanced motorcycle. I've always had the most fun riding 600. So for me, absolute no-brainer, ZX6 all day long. Gootsy Colorado on YouTube has asked, bought a brand new motorcycle. After 3 weeks, it broke down. It's been in the shop for a week. What are lemon laws when it comes to motorcycles? Well, I can't believe you didn't tell us what the model was. I would love to know what the machine was that you bought that broke down after 3 weeks and what happened to it. But the question was about lemon laws. And unfortunately, I've never had to really do anything with lemon laws or look up anything about them. But my cursory understanding of lemon laws is that there are consumer protections for certain goods that you go and buy. I think specifically automotive and motorcycle and like those kinds of things that have engines, that if you buy something that is brand new from a dealership, a reputable company, all that, if it like just doesn't work, then you have some protections that you can then either sue the dealer or the company or get some money back. There's some sort of stipulation. Again, I have a very cursory understanding of lemon laws, so I may not be the best person to ask about this. But if you do feel like you've been very wronged by a manufacturer and you bought this brand new bike, you didn't do anything wrong, talk to an attorney, see what your options are, and see if you can get your money back, because that really stinks if you're out of the money on the bike, and now it's just held up at the dealership. That really stinks. So, yeah. Josh Marsh on YouTube. Do you have any thoughts on 1% motorcycle clubs? I know nothing about 1%er clubs. I don't know anything about the culture around them. All I know is that it is not for me. It's not something that I get into motorcycling for. I'm not really into the whole like outlaw 1%er whatever club lifestyle. It's not my thing, so no knowledge on that subject. Somebody asked a question on chat. Oh, William Harp here. XSR 700 versus MT-07 if they were priced the same. For me, I've owned both of them and given away both of them. No doubt XSR 700. It's such a cool bike. Really, really nice. It performs basically the same as an MT-07. It's a little bit longer and a little bit different, but ultimately the same and just looks way better. So that would be my choice. Corey Dawson on YouTube asks, looking to ride, would you recommend a cheap helmet to learn in case I dump it or a good helmet from the start? Okay, maybe let's define cheap versus good helmet and maybe explain why they're not mutually exclusive. Perhaps maybe your definition of cheap is different. I'm not sure, but I think there's plenty of good cheap helmets that you don't have to skimp out on quality, but you don't have to break the bank either. If you're willing to spend even $150, which is more than enough money to keep your brain safe, right? I hope that you pride your brain and your head more than $50 or something like that, you know? You can find a great ECE rated helmet. That's the Economic Commission of Europe. They are the sanctioning body that regulates helmets over there, and that's the sticker you want to look for when you buy a motorcycle helmet. So I would say as long as the helmet has that sticker, the ECE 22.06, which I think is the latest sticker. They might have moved up to 7 or 8, or I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head right now. But as long as it has that sticker, not a DOT sticker. DOT stickers means jack shit, if we're being completely honest. They mean nothing. Look for that sticker, and then any helmet that has that sticker is going to be A-okay, great to learn on, great to use. Don't get a like $30 brain bucket from Amazon or something like that. Please, 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 God, don't do that. I have heard stories, and I hate to get morose here on the live stream, but I've heard stories, for example, of, people riding on the back of a Harley. I think there was specifically a girl riding on the back of a Harley. Guy went through a roundabout on the Harley. Girl fell off the back of the bike, wasn't wearing a helmet, died. It does not take much to have a TBI, and please, please, please get a good helmet. It doesn't have to be expensive. You don't need a $700 Arai helmet, but get a ECE rated helmet. A. Adel on YouTube asks, looking to get into biking again, do you think a 950S Supersport is good for daily commuting? This motorcycle comes up a lot, the Ducati Supersport. And I think one of the reasons it comes up is because Ducati's been making this bike for a while. I think almost 10 years now, this specific version that I'm thinking of. They've upgraded and modified it and changed it a little bit over time. But it kind of was the original, like, not so super sport machine, if you kind of think about it. It's got a big twin. It's kind of comfortable to ride around all the time. And I think you can fit it with luggage, if I remember correctly. So it kind of would be good for daily commuting. Plenty of power, plenty of poke, really nice on the highway. I've yet to ride one. I haven't ridden a 950 Super Sport yet, but maybe that's a bike we can do a video on because I see a lot of people asking about this bike. So to idle here, I think it'd be a good daily option. Yeah, definitely. Hey folks, I hope you're enjoying this Yammie Noob live stream clip. Remember, every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central, right here on YouTube, I do the streams. If you want a chance to participate in the live streams, head over to yammie.co and become a member. You'll get access to our Discord server, automatic entries to win our giveaway motorcycles, and access to our newsletter as well. It's a great way to support the show. It's like a bike night that never ends over there. It's a lot of fun, and I'm on there all the time. Join us a member on yammie.co and support the show. All right, 599 Owen, hopefully that's a shout out to a 599cc engine, asks, I'm considering giving up my street bike and getting an enduro bike. Any advice? This is really interesting because I dabbled a little bit with enduro riding. I had a Husqvarna FE501 that I did a little bit of trail riding with in different places. I think if you're going to give up street riding completely, you have to realize that unless you have a very wide open schedule, which some of us do, you're not going to ride as much, but your quality of seat time will go up. You maybe get out there every 2 weeks on the trails, that sort of thing, but you'll be better off than you were if you're just like tooling around on the street. And if you feel more comfortable doing that too, you're going to need some sort of way to trailer this motorcycle to places. Some places allow you to plate an enduro bike, and some places would allow you to, ride from your house to the trails with like some sort of smog compliant exhaust or all that sort of things. It's kind of a pain in the butt to plate a proper enduro bike. You got to put on the headlights and the turn signals and all that. I would say if you're going to get one, my pick, and the reason I got one, is the Husqvarna or the KTM 500 platforms, because while they are a dual sport, they're ridiculously capable on the trails. Like, insanely capable on the trails. So unless you really want like a sub 200 pound two-stroke machine, which fair, that sounds like a really fun time, the dual sport bikes can do a lot there. Brandon Chasehorn giving me $5 here. What did you learn racing that you would not have learned just doing track days? Great question. For some context for everyone on stream, Brandon is a buddy of mine in real life. We raced together last year on an Endurance 400, and he's one of the fastest guys that I know, races an Aprilia 660, both at the Moto America level and at the Expert Club Racing level. So Brandon is a true fast boy. And honestly, dude, what I learned doing racing versus track days is that, the level at which you have to ride when you race is so different than track days. Like, I feel like it takes so much longer if you're just doing track days to like get good and to realize like what it's actually gonna take to ride at that level. If you're just doing track days, you're never being like pushed to ride faster. You're kind of like doing your laps and maybe you'll chase your buddy a little bit. For me, once I started racing, I was like, track days are fun, but they're a very inefficient way at getting better at riding. Racing is a very efficient way at getting better at riding because you are being timed and you literally see how far away you are from everybody else who is like really good. It blew my mind when I started racing in 2020, like just how far off the pace I was of like the expert guys. I was like, how the hell am I 9 seconds a lap slower than what I need to be if I wanted to like compete, at the top level of this club? And that's when your gears started turning, being like, oh, okay, like maybe I should try this, maybe I should brake later. And also, like when you talk to other racers too, you start picking up stuff way faster and you learn stuff way faster. So that's the thing I learned when I did racing versus track days, is like, it's just way more efficient. If you want to actually ride super fucking fast on track, you just need to start racing. All right. FRC SO04. Tips for maintaining your bike and using it in the winter, UK based. So personally, for me, I live in Texas, so our winters are like 50 degrees. Like, and if it's less than 50 degrees, I'm not riding. It's too damn cold. And that's like maybe 10 degrees Celsius, 8 degrees Celsius, something like that. So I would say I'm not the best person to ask this question, but I'll try to answer it the best I can. In winter specifically, you're going to want to, in terms of using your motorcycle, just be aware that your tires are way colder than they're going to be riding in the summer. Seems obvious, but a lot of people think that they have the same level of grip no matter what the temperature is. But if it's that cold, you don't have anywhere near the same kind of grip you do when it's hot. So plan your braking way sooner. Think about your lean angles way more, and that'll keep you more upright. In terms of maintenance, if you're going through, even like slushy kind of ice or snow or that kind of thing, that kind of stuff can eat up a chain and can just add excessive wear on your bike. So you might have to think about cleaning your bike a little bit more often in the winter. And of course, if you're going to store your motorcycle in the winter, be sure to use some sort of fuel stabilizer or ethanol-free gas, and also get the bike up on stand so that the wheels aren't just like sitting and flat spotting your tires. So that would be some of my winter tips. And boys, that wraps up the questions. So again, before we get started with the bike roast and boost, join the community on yammie-noob.co. Get access to the server, all that good stuff, and we will, answer your questions on future streams. Well, boys, that's the end of this video. But you know what's really cool? Our members over on yammie-noob.co are the reason that we can keep this show going. I have a ton of fun doing this, and without those members, it would simply be impossible. So as a way of giving back, I give away these awesome motorcycles. This is an MT-09 SP that's up for grabs right now on yammie-noob.co. So join as a member, click that link down below on yammie-noob.co. But while you're doing that, click this link right over here and keep watching some more videos. Learn more about motorcycling, have some fun with me, watch some cool memes, and maybe I will also elucidate you to some of the finest cultural touchstones in motorcycling.